G'day, movers and shakers. Thanks for tuning in. I'm building the hardest rubbish rig. A rig built out of 100% scrap, recycled materials, broken parts, you name it. As long as it doesn't cost me, as long as it's free, I'll create something that resembles a race car. I was trying to do a V8 Supercar sequential or rally car sequential. No matter how hard I tried, I couldn't get the right feeling from the mechanism. So the ultimate solution for that, cut it off. I put a fair bit of effort into the things I create, but like I said, it's all scrap, broken parts, hard rubbish, cost me nothing except blood, sweat and tears. So I'm happy to just anytime just cancel what I'm doing, try something different, try something new, try something else. Best thing about not paying for things, but when I do things like this, there's a real satisfaction and I suppose it's like a hobby, an enjoyment I get when I make a new mechanism that works. It just feels really like a real accomplishment. It's satisfying when I'm finally happy with something. So when I'm not, I don't try and beat around or get around it. I'll just try and do it better. But not wanting to pay for anything, I thought, well, what makes a supercar sequential or V8 supercar or rally car or something feel like it does? So I thought hard and long about it and worked it out. So with a V8 supercar, you've got the shifter and it hits what you call a rod end. That just gives it that allowance to move it into a lineal actuator from another position, so they can actually go lineal instead of curved, right? So that's a really important part, the rod end. And then it goes to a rod. The rod in the V8 supercar with the forks that pick it up runs into, I suppose you'd call almost like a ratchet system, which I don't need. But what that does is each time they select the forks or whatever, the lifters or whatever they're called, I don't even know what they're called, will engage a rod. The rod will engage I suppose you'd call it a scroll or a tube, and that tube's got keyways in it that selects a gear. So when you click it, it'll turn the cylinder. The cylinder will have keyways in it that selects a gear. So essentially what they're feeling is two bearings rolling over to select. And that's what that is. It's clutchless. So they're a dog box. So you got dog gears. The dog gears select, that's the whirring, the that you always hear. So I'll get that going. But I thought, well, how do I make a bloody rod end? I did. I made one, so which is pretty impressive. This is not what I'm going to use. This is probably the size of a fucking tractor or something. But what I ended up doing just as a test, I ended up getting a ball bearing, big ball, putting thread in it, just using a threaded eye bolt, 2 nuts on it, and then I just used a roofing screw grommet, and it actually fucking works, like proper. Like, so when you're selecting, that'll be like, it'll move linearly, and that's the actual feeling that I figured out. So when all's said and done, this is just a test to see if I can make a rod end, which I could. And what I figured out is, in the end, what they're feeling is past the rod end. These are roller bearings, or what you call sprung bearings. I don't even know what you call them, actually. I don't know what you call fuck all. But what they're actually feeling is two of those housed or home. The home is like, say, there. And when you select a gear, it'll pop out, roll onto, say, a nut, and then back in. And that's what stops the slop or the rebound. And it's that feeling, bop, bop, like this. And I'll try and do it one-handed or two-handed, but it's the feeling. So, I did have a little tiny rod end out of my gas struts. So that's what I'm going to use. And like I was saying, the point of this video is not tripping over shit, but is to, actually before I go any further, old Lenovo laptop, couldn't get it going for the life of us. I ended up flashing it properly and reinstalling Windows, all that sort of shit, and I got it going. So bonus, extra head up, or sorry, extra dash screen. Point of the video was I love it when I make a mechanism and it works. So let's see if I can rig up a crappy little tripod here. That'll do. Say hi to my little friend, my robot friend. So that's what I've done. And instead of my usual sticky tape and cardboard, I've been cutting steel. How about that? So what I did is I got a threaded rod and I drilled a hole, put a hole in it, and also opened up this gate hinge, put big holes in it. And then what I did is, because I needed the spring motion and I needed it to be foolproof, I mean smash the shit out of it, supercar style. So that's what I've done. I've made a bunch of sleeves. So firstly, I made this little sleeve with a hole in it. And what that does is that's the right diameter to hold the springs and not let them go past. But then I want the springs covered, and there's a hole there to tie it to the rod. Then I made another cover with a hole in it to house all that, because I don't want nothing naked, so that I want to be able to slam it like a real one. So that's what I did. I put that in there, and then I thought, well, I need to cover all that, the spring ends. So I made another one. This one I put a big hole in the top so that when I tie it all together, what I use as the tie can also be like a gauge. All right, so that all slips into there now. Then what I can do is I can put my threaded rod in. I'm going to try and do this okay. And then this will just slide straight through the guts. Like that. Oops, I've got the spring caught here somehow. There we go. All right, like so. All right, then what I do is when I tie it together, which is going to take me a second, if you've got to give me a second here, I'm going to try and do it the cheat way by doing it like this. Then all I've got to do is line up all the holes. So there we go. Now I've got to get the threaded rod one. There it is there. Then I'm going to put, like, I suppose this is almost like a gauge, this square pin. So I've made it the right size, so I'm going to pop that in there. If you give me a second, I'm just going to quickly do that up, hopefully without any dramas. Just got to tie into the rod, and once I do, that should be fine. So I think that's sort of hitting the rod now. I think it seems to be good. So I'm just going to do that up. We'll find out. Bye, little robot guy. See you later. So you see where I'm going with this. This is the spring mechanism. Is that in? Okay, that's sort of in. I'm just going to do it a bit tighter so I can. Show what I mean by the hole in the top as a gauge. I thought, look, as soon as I'm going to tie it together here, and I don't want really a nut sticking out or a bolt or a thread, I thought I may as well just put this little square peg in, cut the hole in the top big enough for it to sit in, and that way I can just paint it red. And look, you won't probably see any of this. This will all be hidden, hence why I'm showing you how I build these things, what's inside them, because you don't get to see any of this shit that makes it so good. So there we go. I've done that right up now, and now without tying in these rods here, they'll be loose for the second. That way I've made it like, it's a really tough, good mechanism. I can really give that some fucking shit. I can just fucking smash it and it works. So I'm happy with that. Then I can just tie the rod end on. So I'll just chuck a couple of spacers or washers or something, because they'll end up having more to it, obviously. But this is just to show you how I turned into a lineal actuation from shaft. So there we go. There's that. And then you got your rod end there. So all in all, when I'm selecting a gear, it's going to be selecting from here. And then what I'll do is I'll end up having a couple of, like a large nut, 2 nuts with a space in between the nuts, and these bearings will be either side to fill the selection, essentially. And a couple more springs for extra stiffness, things like that. But I'm just happy, like I said, I'm happy with, you know, the way it turned out or so far. My little mechanism, it's really rock solid, just really nice, really good throw. Everything's good. I'm going to be pretty happy with the way that works when it's hooked to the shifter. It's going to be quite a significantly bigger shifter than it was, which is fine by me. That'll be tied in there. Probably be a couple more springs here for extra stiffness. 2 bearings here running over 2 bolts, and that'll give the feeling. It'll be actuated from this end, as far as this end, sorry, with the proximity switches. But yeah, look, that's about all I wanted to show you. I've been cutting steel, making parts, and I just think it's really nice. I think it's just a really nice little part. Again, it'll all probably be covered, because in the end, you know, it's all covered up. God, look at the fucking mess I make in it, good. And at the moment I'm making some Porsche nets, some race nets. So it'll be black on top of the yellow in black will be the inside driver's side, yellow outside for a fair bit of it. Most of it's black for the Porsche. But I'm making some nets, about to cut that off, and I'll put in the new unit. I'll start doing some upholstering, some stuff. It's 1 step forward, 2 steps back. That's how I roll. If I don't like something, I'll just start it again. But I am getting there. I'm pretty happy, like I said, with the mechanism. If you want to see more, like, subscribe, you know the drill. Thanks for watching. I appreciate all your viewers and all your comments and all your suggestions. Sorry if I don't get back to them all. You know, not only I, you know, suffer from ADHD, BPD, a whole bunch of fucking things, but sometimes I just can't get around to writing back, and it gets overwhelming. And so it doesn't mean I don't see your comments and read them and appreciate them. I do every time. Sometimes I feel like my words aren't significant or good enough to reply, or very hard to explain that. But that's what I want to show you. I'm going to change the gearbox. It's going to feel like a V8 Supercar shifter now. It's going to feel fucking good. And that's the point. The point is, when it's all said and done, you won't see any of that. You won't see any of the shit that I do. It'll just look like a race car, and people wonder how it feels so good, or how it does what it does when I do a hard rubbish rig, or hardest rubbish rig, harder rubbish rig. And that's because all the fucking thousands and thousands I do, little things I do inside the cosmetics or the aesthetics that you don't get to see, is why I'm showing you these videos. So again, thanks for watching. See you next time, and hopefully there's a shifter inside.